Artest looking, gets it to Bryant. Bryant dribbling, has to put it up with the buzzer. Banks it in! He banks in the three! And the Lakers win the game!
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Syndicate members, it is 9 a.m. Wednesday. You know what that means.
Go.
Live from Austin, Texas, it is Winning on Wednesday. I'm Tony Merwin. I'm your host, and I got my good buddy, Joe Blurt, hanging out with me. Man, I'm glad to have you back in town.
Yes, I am.
It's great to see you.
I'm right there with you, Merwin. I'm so glad to be back, man. Dude, it was like bliss being in my office. Well, you're making me go right into my weekly win. But good morning, Syndicate
that is the
members.
theme of the show.
Right. Real quick before we get into it, y'all, I put it in the comments. It's also in the description. Go ahead and let StreamYard view your comments. So we would love to be able to bring you up on the screen and everything like that. So just click that. It's one click of a button. So go ahead and knock that out for us. And good morning. And yeah, so my weekly win. And hey, if you guys got weekly wins, put them in the comments as well. Man, I don't know what I was thinking, but it was awesome. Don't get me wrong. It was good. It was like a lot of chaos, but it was good chaos, right? Because it was all with family. It was all for good reasons. But I was in Indiana for a wedding, and so my wife went to St. Louis the day early because she was planning her sister's entire wedding the following week. And so she went with my two kids. So shout out to Maria because she flew with 2 car seats, a 9-month-old, a 3-year-old. I mean, it was craziness, right? And then she rented a car, drove up to Indiana. We went to the wedding, and then it was like I had a 7 a.m. flight on Sunday. I was like, well, if we're being honest, I'm saying, oh yeah, what's the point of being your own boss if you can't just say F it? And I'm like, well, it was like, midnight, and I had to be at the airport at 7 a.m. And I'm like, you know what, screw it, man. So I went to St. Louis for a week. And actually, that's part of my weekly win is I got to work out of Tracy's office. So I did last week's show. I was actually in Tracy's office.
That's right.
Man, I was doing some outbound dials, setting appointments, getting some quotes for her producers, man. Just everybody, all the guys on my team were like, dude, is Joe getting hacked? Like, we haven't seen his Lightspeed phone like do this much activity in like 6 months. I was like, yeah,
feeling some of that energy in that old office, right? Just kind of feeling some of that energy get it going.
Yeah, but man, we got back late Saturday. Spent Sunday just getting the house cleaned up, watching football, and then now we're just obviously back in the office. And then that's probably going to be your weekly win. So I'll let you share that. But that was awesome too. Way to kick off the week.
Absolutely, man. It's easy one for me. It's the golf tournament. Dude, that thing was awesome. Everything fell into place so perfect. The weather was absolutely sensational, which is nuts because the day before, I remember, it was 100 degrees. It was nice and muggy here. Even though it's still pumpkin spice fall time, it's still 100 degrees in Texas. But right that morning, that night, that little cold front came through that dropped the temperature down a little bit. I mean, it was still like 90 degrees, but that's a lot better than 100, and it wasn't nearly as muggy. But all the little details just fell into place perfectly. Right, like we had a few players that were overbooked, and then we had a couple of guys that didn't show up, but we were able to shuffle it around. We ended up with an even 16 teams, which was awesome. We had 64 players, few volunteers, few extra guests for dinner or for the lunch, and the whole thing just went off without a hitch, man. I got to admit, I am a little disappointed that my team was not in the running for the cash prize money, but we were rusty. We were not playing very well.
Okay. All I have to say guys, we're about to bring on an amazing guest. What's up, Mr. England? How you doing, sir? Good to see you as always. All I'm saying, and I'm sorry if you're watching this, whoever I don't think you are, but if you are, 17 under? Really? Like, really? 17 under? I don't know about that. I'm like, man, we got 3 holes left. We're 8 under, man. And I'm like, dude, we're gonna bring it home, boys. Let's go.
Yeah.
Then we get there. It's like, nah, man, we were like freaking 6th, 7th place.
Yeah. Well, you get
Excuse me, but
a
it was a lot of
4-man
fun.
scramble, so everybody gets to hit their favorite shot or their best shot constantly, right? You're always getting 4 chances to hit your best shot. And then we gave them 5 mulligans. They had to pay for them because it's all good for charity, but they get 5 mulligans. So you think about that. If you got a good team of some ball stripers together, and
Yeah,
apparently Mr. Kelly Simons out there, if you're watching in the world, man, you apparently have a killer team together with your 55 that you shot out there for a smoking
right.
hot day to take first place and $600 cash money prizes. So that was a good time. Just all in all, it was a great
It was.
success. I was super happy with how it went over. And now my eyes are on next year's tournament. Already got some pretty big things. Hopefully we will even have some celebrities. Yeah, you heard that
Ooh,
right. Hopefully we'll have some celebrities next year. So got some
awesome.
pretty good stuff in order. But tell
Cool.
them what we got coming up for our guest. Who is this man?
Yeah. Yeah, y'all. So again, an amazing guest hopping on. Somebody who actually I don't know very well, but we've met one time. I don't know if he remembers this. We've met at the Rising Stars workshop in Fort Myers that Victor Gonzalez put on with Insurance Growth Workshops. So that was my first time. He actually had just, I think he was just in town and had popped in. I got to meet him briefly, but then have just really followed him since. And so I love his passion and his heart for people. So that's one thing. Obviously, you guys know that's my heart. So instantly was attracted to that and was very excited to be able to book him and get him on the call. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and bring on the Outsource King himself and put a nice little hand clap in the comments, y'all, for my good buddy, Mr. James Baskin. What's going on?
What's up?
What's up, guys? What's happening? Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
morning.
It's good to have you on the show. I see it's not your normal crown, but you still have a crown with you today.
Yep, got the gear on. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Joe, for having me. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well,
Absolutely,
so take
man.
just
Thanks for stepping in.
and take just a couple minutes here and just let everybody know who is James. Kind of just give them a little bit of your background and then cap off with your weekly win, and then we'll get into it.
Awesome. Yeah. So you talked about just my heart for giving, and I have a coach, and what he always says is givers gain, and I believe the same thing. And it's not just money; it's time, it's energy. You guys are here doing something for your community, and giving back to these people. And I'm also here. I want to give back as well, and so I believe givers gain. So I want to first say that's who I am. I'm a giver at heart. There's a great book. I actually have a meeting with him later tonight. Go Giver is the name of the book. And I'm actually supposed to have a Zoom with the guy that wrote it. I just heard about it. I heard about it this past quarter, I guess. And then Coach and Program I'm in actually booked the author. And so we have a meeting tonight about it. And it just talks about giving. And it was like one of the first books that just really aligned with who I am as a person, because even when I didn't have a successful business or be successful myself as a person, I just always was like, I remember I was the guy that would help other people find a job, but I didn't have a job. It's kind of funny. So it was eventually I had to be self-reliant, self-sufficient. So James as a person is just I'm the empath, caring person that wants to help other people out. And as a business, I'll get into all that stuff, I'm sure, as we talk naturally, of course. But I run an outsourcing call center company. We do everything from cold call and appointment set-in to tech support for some large companies. And I'm in Colombia, South America. I'm supposed to go to Florida. I'm sure everyone already knows all about that kind of stuff right now in the world. Tonight, where my home is in Florida also, but I also have a home here in Colombia, South America.
I love it, man. Well, so, and actually I think this is going to be part of our show now, Merwin. What was your first job? I like asking this question. I like to see where people, cause right. And it's part of it too. Cause when I think back, man, how far we've come. Right. And so I like to hear what was, if you can remember, what was your first ever job?
Yes, Antonio or me? I think you're.
No, you, James.
Yeah. I'll also give my win. I apologize. I didn't actually give my win.
Oh, yeah.
I'll do my first job. My first job was at this place called the Bell House. They actually stored the Liberty Bell there during, I guess, I don't know, back in George Washington days, they stored the Liberty Bell there, and that's why it was called the Bell House. And so it had some historic value to it. I was 15, and I remember I would work. I was a dishwasher, but I would just work so many extra hours, and it was like totally illegal how many hours I was working. My mom hated it. I smelled like cigarettes. I would, I would drink on the job, like.
Wow.
And I'm also sober, by the way. So you asked like who I am. I'm also a sober member of a 12-step fellowship. But yeah, I was 15. I was drinking on the job, smoking weed with the older guys, and smelled like French fries every night. And then my mom would pick me up, and then I would listen to Rage Against the Machines all day long. Metallica. It's called Mandatory Metallica. Every Friday we'd listen to Mandatory. It's called Mandatory Metallica, and in Philadelphia. And they play 3 Metallica songs, and they all were like non-mainstream songs. And so it was just like it was definitely like rock star lifestyle in there for a 15-year-old at least.
Right. And what's the weekly win? What you got for us on that?
Weekly win. Yeah, thank you. Weekly win for me was I had a team meeting, and sometimes I'm so close to my business, I can't see what I need to do. And to take me to the next level, I don't know if your audience got to see, but there's a really cool countdown that Joe and Tony have on here with Kobe and this Mamba mentality. And like, I was like, when I go into a funk, the funks nowadays might last 30 minutes to an hour when they used to last like a day or a week. Like I remember like my insurance days, I like couldn't get out of bed, but now it's like 30 minutes to an hour, and I'm like just down on myself. And I got honest with my team about that. I was like, man, I'm just really in a funk. I'm really feeling it. Like, I'm not sure what I'm doing right or what I'm doing wrong in this area. And what can we do to go to this next level? And they were like, sir, this is what you used to do, and this is what we think you need to do more of. And as soon as I got back to that, started booking more appointments, started getting more sales calls. And it was just a matter of me being humble enough to listen to some people on my team. That one of the girls has been on my team for 4 years. Like I've been doing this call center outsourcing stuff for a minute. And I had people in the Philippines that were basically like, hey, here's what we think you do really well. Here's where we see that you're not doing anything. Kind of like a SWOT analysis.
Right.
And and they did that, and I adjusted it. And it was like, I just got fired up. And then like, it was like invincible mode where it's like all kinds of other shit happened where it was like, that's cool, but this is going to make me stronger. So that's kind of my weekly win, was just like, it was kind of like taking a minor setback L just to regroup and be like, okay, I'll take that. Let's go forward.
Yeah, that's
right.
I absolutely adore that. Number one, it's example of great leadership. It's great humility that you have the ability to go to your team, the people that you're supposed to be leading, and tell them, hey, I'm not feeling it. I'm off. Y'all can probably tell I'm off. So help me get back on track. What is it? And then they have enough respect for you to not like diss you, to be like, yeah, no, these are the things like you're right. We did notice it. This is the shit you used to do that was great, and we were all killing it. And now you're not really focused on that. And so, maybe let's get back to it. And then you have the ability to steer right back. That's an awesome example of a great leader that, again, you have the ability to be humble, and they have the respect of you, right, to be able to answer your question properly the way you want it. That's a good team.
And that's, I think that goes to the tribe piece of our House of Dreams right here, right? Where it's, having, again, the humility to go to these people that have your back, and they're only going to look out for what's like your best interest, right? And I think, there's a difference between tearing somebody down and then helping them. You said a setback. I use the word pivot, right? Because like we're always, especially in this industry, man, dude, things are changing every single day. We got to be able to pivot. We got to be able to pivot fast. But I think really, in order to do that efficiently, you've got to have those people in your corner that are not only are they going to cheer you on, right, but then also, hey, like we're going to check you if you need to be checked, type of thing. And I love that, because that to me is a team. Like that's what we're all striving to build, right? And obviously within regardless of the size of your agency or organization, whatever it is, having those people in your corner to really, again, but to celebrate you too, right? Like, don't make it like, if you got people that are just saying, dude, you like, no, man, you're trash. Like this, this. Well, maybe find a couple different players on the team, right? Maybe find a Kobe, but I love that you said that. And that's something that we really hark on too, because it's so important. That really just accountability piece of that, right? You've got to have that accountability, within any type of business outside of insurance, really in general, right? But I wanted to I wanted to pivot to insurance, right? Because you said obviously you've been doing the outsourcing thing for a hot minute, but if I'm hearing it correctly, or if I heard it correctly, it was, hey, I didn't start there, right? Did you start? Hey, were you in sales? Were you running life appointments? What were you doing before you got into the whole Outsource Kings?
Yeah, and shout out to Victor Gonzalez. That's how we connected. Tony, I know I've spoken with you also, and I've been following your stuff as well. And I see you guys both as like giants in your industry. So shout out to both of you also. So I didn't mention in the beginning, and I have it with me. Anyone that is watching this, I see there's comments and stuff like that on both the Facebook group page and on StreamYard. I will send anyone that's watching a copy of my book. I'll cover the shipping. It's also going to go more in depth in my story. You don't have to pay anything. I'll cover 100% of the cost. Wow. Just shoot me a message or a friend request. Send me your address. Obviously, US based. Canada gets a little pricey sometimes, but I'll cover the shipping. I'll cover the cost of the book. It is on Amazon, but I'd rather just ship it to everyone. It kind of goes more in depth than what I can go into this right now. But I'm going to do kind of what you asked and kind of give the answer to that. So when I first was an insurance agent, and I don't know how many final expense leads that you guys bought or stuff like that. I think most of you guys are Medicare. Is that right, Tony? Both you and Joe are
I'm mostly Medicare. Joe's pretty much all PNC.
But life making as well. A life push. Yep.
Okay. So there was a guy that was doing these leads, and they were technically, I think they're illegal now, but they were called like it wasn't press one, but it was like those like people were pressing a button and it would have the whole thing go through, and it was like and these people in the Philippines weren't even on the phone. They were just pressing buttons, and it was it'd be like what we consider like AI today. Like the word AI just gets so far stretched that it's like not even AI. It's like go high level as AI now, and it's just automation. So it was like someone pressing a button and it would have different responses. And so, but they were using people in the Philippines. And so I was like, maybe I should hire someone in the Philippines. And I forget who it was, but Chris Westfall, who I do consider a Medicare mentor of mine. I was in one of his programs for a while. I still have an active license, by the way. I just don't write. I keep it around for God knows what. I passed my insurance test. That was like, at the time, me passing my insurance license was like the most I had done with my life. So if anyone's like, I'm just an insurance agent, like, fuck, that was me for a minute. Like, I was like, I never did anything with my life. My dad called me, and I know exactly, like, everyone knows where they were at, like 9/11, like, because 9/11 just happened. Everyone's like, I remember where I was at. I remember exactly where I was at when my dad was like, I'm proud of you. And I was like, yeah, man, like, I passed my insurance license. I did nothing with my life for a while, and then passing my insurance license was like a big thing. And so I started outsourcing to people in the Philippines. And what we were doing with Medicare was we were cold calling for Medicare supplement to be compliant in that aspect. And what would happen was I was running face-to-face appointments, and I still remember this to this day. I'll probably never forget this. What we would do is we would cold call, and we would ask the people what kind of car they had in their driveway, because I was running face-to-face appointments. And I had so many from cold calling. It was ridiculous. This is like, at this point, it's like 5 or 6 years ago that I was doing this. And if that car was not in the driveway, I would keep driving. That was my strategy. It meant that they weren't home. And so I could keep my time focused on just going to the next appointment. Because, any agent that's been a door knocker, which I think probably you guys both have experience with that's the background I come from, door knocking hardcore. And neighborhoods, you name it, clipboards, doing surveys. That's my experience with like cutting my teeth in the final expense and Medicare world, so to speak. And so I would just keep driving. And so we started running Facebook ads at the same time. And I started getting so many leads that I also would have them call my leads. And so I got started in insurance, and I built this mini team. And then I had some people that were like, hey, can you teach us? So I actually had like a course first, which wasn't even meant to be a course. And then I actually turned it into a service. So, but just to kind of keep it on insurance, we were using people in the Philippines to cold call, manage and book appointments for me off of my Facebook leads. Anyone that's running Facebook leads nowadays, it's so much easier, but the quality is so much not what it used to be. Just to put it in terms that you guys will probably know, we were running Facebook leads about 4 or 5 years ago. It was $1 a lead, long form lead. We could qualify people if they had diabetes or not. Like, it was crazy. Like, if they took like metformin, we could qualify them as a Facebook lead before they even became a lead. So like, we could say, I want all the people that take insulin in Orlando to see this ad, and only they would see that ad. And we could like type in like legit like metformin, Novolog. We could type all that shit in, and like we could run an ad directed at them. And so I used to run these ads for Transamerica for people that were overweight and had diabetes. And so when I go to the house back in the day, I don't know how Transamerica is now because I haven't sold in about 3 years. Transamerica had no height or weight guideline for life insurance. So I'd go in the house and these people would be like, oh man, I've been turned down before. And I was able to sell them life insurance. And eventually we started running retargeted ads to people of like, I got this guy he's heavy. And he was like, I was turned down for life insurance. James helped me, which is like, sign me up. And people were just like, I saw the ad. And so we started getting all these leads coming in, retargeting, inbound leads, so to speak. And then these people in the Philippines would call them all. Because I was getting I had a $50 a day ad spend budget, and I was getting like 50 long form leads a day, which was crazy.
Gosh.
And dude, it was like they were answering
at a dollar a lead, dude. Gosh, you talk about that's the OG Facebook days.
It's funny, man. Like, I'm not gonna put anyone out there because I see all kinds of people that talk about like they've got the best Facebook leads, and it's stuff that we were running 5 years ago that got resold to a marketer, that got resold to someone else, and then the course owner taught it, and then now the agent runs it, and the agent, thinks they know all about Facebook leads. And the reason why I say that is not to put any agent or marketer down. It's actually to encourage anyone out there. Be original. Be original with your ad. Be original with your content. Don't just copy what your upline or the course owner. Now, if you're buying leads from someone, you don't have really much choice in that. But if you're like, hey, I'm creating my own ad, I'm creating my own lead. I'm not the Facebook marketer. My buddy was the one that created it. But the final expense ad that we ran back in the day, it was a little kid next to a tombstone, and it was fucking a tearjerker that pulled people's emotions. And then we ran a Medicare one that had like a smiley face when it went Medicare Advantage, sad face, Medicare Supplement, smiley face. And it was like a gift practically. And it was so simple. And I've seen people running it and posting it. And it's like, that's stuff we ran 5 years ago. And it's like, why I say that is not to put those people down, but more just to encourage anyone, be original. Like when we started outsourcing, I copied people. Chris, we talk about my company. I copied because I didn't want to pay $1,000 to this like service provider Chris had to find people, virtual assistants. I didn't want to pay $1,000. I was like, let me learn it myself. I went to onlinejobs.ph, hired my first couple people. Maybe you've heard of the website, maybe you haven't. It's like a platform to hire Filipinos.
Basically direct.
Started hiring people off there. I went through the ringer, man. Like, I've been burned, I've been scammed. Now I think the bigger I get, the more I kind of have opened myself up for things that have happened. Now it's like, I got to worry about, do I bring on the right client? Do I bring on the right employee? And I've just, I've had to take some L's. I've had, like we buy practically brand new computers for employees now. And, I've had all kinds of stuff happen where I've been burned for computers, but play big, you win big, play big.
Right.
Sometimes you take a couple L's. And, now it's like, now we've got like some people paying like over $5,000 a month for some of our services. So it's just a wild world now, but I got started in insurance. I cannot name the name of the company. Unfortunately, I have a testimonial coming soon with it. I just can't publicly state it yet because it's bigger than an insurance company. It's like an actual national food brand that we're working with right now. And awesome. we handle their tech support in Florida. And the storm's coming right now. I got a phone call yesterday from someone just to kind of I want to be transparent. I want to talk about that it's all wins all day long, but it's like when the going gets hard, it's like, it's easy to be like I'm going to sit back and get paid X amount of dollars, thousands of dollars a month, and just laugh to the bank kind of thing. We got clients that pay a lot of money, and this one client pays a lot of money, and they've got my personal cell number, and I get a text message yesterday like, "Hey, sorry
what's going down? What's going down in Colombia, man?
No idea. But anyways,
get your helmets on.
Long story short, I'm the guy that they call, and I'm the guy that's got to fix some things. Hopefully it's not too loud in the background, but
you're good.
I'm the guy that's got to fix some things and show up and fix it. And because they've got no one on staff right now. Everyone's remote. Everyone's logged out for the day. And I'm the guy that's got to fix it. And it was as simple as, someone had lost power just for a minute. And it's 12:30 at night last night. I'm smoking a cigar. I'm talking to the person that lost power. And I'm like, what can we do to fix this? And I have SOPs set up to fix this kind of stuff. And it's like, okay. And the truth of the matter is we had 3 other employees behind that one person. So we have backups beyond a backup, but we also don't have this game plan set in place for when a national hurricane comes, takes people out of the office that can't back up us. So it was like all this stuff happened. And so I was like, look, any resource with this is available to the people. And I started an SOP last night to where every single person in the Philippines and in Colombia, we have a team of about 12 people right now. 4 of them are dedicated to this company. We manage them for them. And I was just kind of laughing to myself, but also kind of thinking to myself, like, there's a reason why they pay me so much money, because at 12:30 at night, I'm the guy that's solving this shit. Right. And, it's something that we landed this contract about 6 months ago. It's the kind of contract that we sign like year-long contracts. Like when we come in negotiation time, we're going to be signing a 1 or 2 long contract with this company. Anyways, long story short, we created a contact form where every person in the Philippines has everyone's information, to where if there is an emergency, we have an emergency contact for people, almost like what a real life business would have. Like if Tony or you were working in the office and we're like, hey, Tony didn't show up, I'm worried. Okay, Tony's brother or Tony's wife is the emergency contact in file. Let me contact him because Tony's not answering. And we created that as an outsourcing company, to where if someone, because what happens in the Philippines is they may lose Wi-Fi or service worldwide, but nationwide, they might still have cell service, and they could text another employee or call another employee, or usually it's Facebook message, actually, because Facebook messages sometimes actually survives even when there's no internet. They could message another employee who then updates me, who can then update the client of what's going on, versus just complete nothing going on. Right. So we created this emergency contact process out of it. So it was like a minor setback for a minute. It definitely was a pain in my side for a moment, but it was like, okay, what can I learn from this? Because just like success leaves clues, so does some failures. And my insurance business, kind of bringing it back to insurance, I wanted to bring it to the front where I'm at now, but also back to insurance. I was not a successful insurance agent. I can confidently say that, proudly say that me not succeeding in insurance in terms of being successful at selling life insurance and Medicare. Do I think I was successful from it? 100%. I got no problem door knocking a business today because I used to door knock neighborhoods where people had guns and like smoking cigarettes and roaches on the floor. It's like, oh, this is really nice. They give me a water now when I wait to talk to the owner. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, that's nothing. But it's like, but as an insurance agent, like, I guess on paper, I guess technically I was successful. I mean, I had 5-figure months and stuff like that, but it was out of alignment from what I wanted to do. And the truth of the matter was I thought all these insurance agents were going to hire me. And this is not a knock on your audience or insurance agents as a whole. I thought all these insurance agents were going to hire me, and no insurance agents hired me. And the people they were like, we don't have the money. And I was like, and then all my buddies would be like, oh, insurance agents are so broke. My buddies are insurance agents. And I remember being broke.
Right.
I remember like going to the bank and I was like, I'm upset with these leads. And what can we do? Like, they're not answering me. This company basically had scammed me is what it was. And I remember going to the bank and I was trying to get $250 back. Like, I'm not, here to pocket watch or, talk badly about anyone that, doesn't think $250 is a lot of money. It's a lot of money, of course. But like for me to physically go to the bank, sit there, have to do this whole dispute thing. It's like, once again, play big, win big. I've been scammed for over $5,000 nowadays. And I've just chalked it up as part of doing business. Back in the day when I was an insurance agent, $250 was like destroyed me. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I'm going to go to the insurance forum, which Facebook groups are now Facebook groups are the new insurance forum. If you're an agent now,
literally,
and you're a troll on Facebook, back in the day, the insurance forum was like you could hide behind your username and just be just an asshole.
Right. Well, and I think, one thing I picked up on what you said, and and it's definitely something that we've experienced as Redwood has grown, right? Is you're going to have those kind of setbacks, those L's as you're calling them, right? But the biggest thing I think is also it's learning from them, right? But not letting them define you, right? And I think that's, I love that you said that, because it's like, what I can confidently say, like, I wasn't that badass of an insurance agent, man, right? But I think that's ultimately too because you weren't tapping into what you really wanted to do, right? Like you said, it's like, man, I wasn't really fulfilled. Like, I guess you could say I was successful, I guess, but like, were you really if you weren't tapping into the passion, right? And so I hope you guys heard that, because I think that's so important, that sometimes people will fail and then they'll let that define them for years, where it's like they would have never, James, if with that, right? Like, you maybe not, you would have never started Outsource Kings or anything like that, right? Or taken it to the market, or being able to sign, potentially 2-year deals with massive like national food brands, right? Stuff like that. And so I hope y'all heard that. And I know there's probably some members watching this that maybe you're going through something. Don't ever let it define you, right? It's okay, because right, my favorite word, James, you'll start to follow me. It's not about failing. You're going to fail, right? But then the ability to pivot, right? You've got to be able to pivot so that failure does not define you and who you are and what you're trying to do in your business. So I wanted to real quick, I wanted to shift a couple gears, because you started touching on it, and I think this could provide some serious value, because I know there are people on here that are trying to create their own leads. They're trying to learn how to create their own leads. So I would like to start with, what are 2 to 3 kind of like quick tips on, hey, this is for somebody who is trying to generate their own leads. And you can go outside of Facebook. You can go, hey, if it's Google SEO, like what's the hot topic right now for somebody who is wanting to get into that space? And then I would like to kind of go from there. I heard you did, and I know because I follow you, but coaching and mentorship, right? Because I think what you're doing now, a lot of that came from coaching and mentorship. But real quick before, what would maybe be 2 to 3 things on lead gen? And then we'll get into kind of the training and coaching.
For insurance specific related, just to kind of tailor this down a little bit, what type of insurance for lead gen?
Let's just do life. Yeah.
Life insurance. So to kind of tailor that a little bit more, just talk broad life insurance. It could be term, could be final expense, safe to say.
Yeah.
So depending on where you're at, and this is a strategy, I may still have the recording. Keyword may. I'll send this to your audience if I still have the recording. I don't have a video. Nowadays, everyone like uses proof of video of them speaking somewhere. I spoke to 150 seniors at an HOA community in Florida, and I made thousands and thousands of dollars of sales from it as a life insurance agent. And unfortunately, I didn't have a video. All I have is a recording. So it's like, please believe me. But anyways, I have it on my phone somewhere. I've sent it to people, so it exists out there. If I was selling life insurance, regardless of where I am, I would find an HOA community. And this is going to be, I'll give two methods. I'll give one paid and I'll give one free.
Okay.
So free, because everyone's trying to post on Facebook nowadays, and it's like, dude, no one wants to see you post for the 10th time that you're a life insurance agent. Like when, like you're going to starve before someone reaches out to you after your daily post about life insurance, because it just is spammy. Even if you're trying to be authentic with it, it's like, dude, life insurance is already hard enough to sell. So here's a free method that I think any agent could do. And only maybe a few will even do this. I would go to, let's pick a random state. So I'll say Iowa. I'm not going to use Florida because Florida is easy because there's all these retirement communities. Let's say Iowa. I would go to HOA communities, introduce myself. If they're gated, even better. If they're gated, even better. Because anytime there's like a line of barrier between your entry, it stops 99% of other people. Right? It's like when I door knock neighborhoods and I got through the gate somehow. I mean, maybe I climbed it, maybe I didn't with my binder. Those areas, would be like gold mines when I had a client in that neighborhood. I would basically knock a neighborhood where I had a client and I could reference the client. Anyways, long story short, I would go to an HOA, introduce myself, say that I'm a local life insurance agent, and I would like to see if you guys have a monthly event, or if I could create one for you, and if I could present. And then also on top of it, I would like to buy pizza or donuts. So almost think of it like as a sponsor event.
Yep.
So if you have a client in the neighborhood, this is where you can utilize it even better. So let's say I'm just going to make this very hard on myself to kind of set the stage, because it's very easy for me to be like, oh, go in Florida, do this. So like, I want to talk to the average agent, like that's not in Florida, right? Because not every agent lives in Florida. So let's say you're in Iowa, you've got a client, in one specific city, and you're like, hey, my client lives in this development. It may be gated, it may be not gated. A lot of areas are not gated in the rest of the US. I realize that. So let's say it's not gated and it's just a community, but it's an HOA. And then you can leverage that client at the meeting, right? Because third-party reviews sells better than anything. So let's say we're in this community. It's just a community, right? And they probably have a monthly event. So this is going to be better than your BNI group, right? Like everyone, agents love to join shit that doesn't make them money. They, I'm in the Toastmasters. I'm in the BNI. It's like they're getting dressed up, and they might as well. You ever see like the meme where the clown's getting dressed up and like the clown's like fixing its face and all that? It's like that's a lot of agents. Like they're getting dressed up and they're looking down on people, but they're not making any money. So it's like, first off, also don't look down on anyone that's trying to do something. So I would go to a community, present myself, let them know you want to sponsor an event, or even ask them. I went to so many in Florida. They started handing me newsletters. I spoke at a few of them. And then if your client shows up, what better way of a testimonial than, hey, I work with Joe Smith at 123 Main Street. He's my client, and he's right over there. And that's how I got the gig. So that's what I would say is a free method, and just to like show my experience with it. I mean, I made $150 a month final expense sale at 110% commission, which then led into more sales, which then led into Medicare sales. And the story itself is kind of funny, but just long story short, they told me, they're like, when I went to present this idea, I had to sit through their choir practice. This HOA community was crazy. They had like Christmas choir practice, and I had to sit through it. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, dude, I'm such an idiot. What are they going to say to me? Like, they're not going to, this is like to talk to the leader of the HOA. And she's like, can I help you? After they were all finished, and I sat for like 30 minutes of choir practice of just, sitting there listening, standing up and praise Jesus, all that. And they're like, I'm like, I want to present to your community. I work with Tim Smith. He's over on such and such road. That actually is his name, funny enough. They're like, oh yeah, we just need you to buy donuts for everyone. And I was like, oh, I'm thinking like a box. I'm like, how much is that? They're like $150 or $115. I'm like, $115 worth of donuts and coffee? They're like, yeah, we usually get a couple hundred people that show up. I was like, holy shit. And so I spoke to that community. I had,
Solid.
I think, 4 leads that came out of it, and 1 person purchased from it, and they were a huge sale, and it paid for itself. And then I kind of went on tour. I went on tour doing it. That whole story, and why I say, if you do this route, things are not going to go as planned. You may think of yourself as a good public speaker, which I do, but you put me in a room in front of 100 plus seniors, all that shit goes out the window, and you're just like, and to make matters worse, they did their whole HOA discussion with me there. I'm sponsoring the event. I'm getting a resentment. I'm supposed to have an hour. Now I'm looking at my clock, and now we're like 9:45. I got there at 9 o'clock. I'm like, did they just burn me for donuts and coffee? And I'm sitting there, like, and then next thing you know, this guy, they're like, someone with a gold Camry, you're blocking the Bloodmobile. That was my car. So I'm like, what the shit? The Bloodmobile. I'm like, where the hell? I'm like, screw the Bloodmobile guy. I'm like, I'm presenting, damn it. And so like, oh, it's hilarious. They're like, someone with the gold. I'm like, that's my Camry. I promise I'll move it after I'm done. And like, so it's like shit will just not go as planned. And yeah, it's pretty funny, Travis. I said Travis. It was like, I had this sign up sheet, and I talked to these people, and I signed up my biggest FE client that was, $150 a month at the time. So that's free method, so if you do that route, get a sign up sheet. I don't know anyone else that was doing that. I started going to all these different communities, some gated, some non-gated. Paid route. I still like Facebook leads. But I like the idea of, so life insurance, just to keep this on insurance specific for life. I would do a client testimonial. Facebook's made some changes for custom audiences recently. I think they're removing certain stuff with custom audiences. So I don't know how far in depth that goes with the list. So 2022, as of now, with Facebook ads, I say I don't know Facebook ads, but I know it probably better than the average person. I would still say Facebook leads is going to be your best leverage. It's going to be the easiest barrier of entry also, but I would do a Facebook lead. I would do a lead ad, keep it simple on yourself. It's not going to be the highest quality, but I would do a lead ad with a video testimonial from one of your clients directed at a certain group of people. If you are doing, let me think, because I was going to say, because we do a lot with mortgage, but firefighters and police officers are generally going to have their own internal life insurance, so that wouldn't apply. But I would find a certain demographic of people that their job does not provide life insurance to them, and I would advertise directly at them somehow, an ad specific for them. I'm trying to think of what kind of job is like.
Oh, I know one right off the gate is truckers. So we do a lot of trucking on the PNC side, and pretty much everybody's a 1099 contractor. They got no benefits, no life, no nothing. So then if I can get a trucking client to buy some life, which we just did, that's kind of one of our methods right now, is we're obviously getting in the door with the PNC because they have to have it to run their business, but then coming in and cross-selling, and slapping some life on there. But that's really good, is actually, hey, and here's the thing too. I love that you said that. And here's why people don't have client testimonials, is you're not asking your clients. It's just like how you don't get enough referrals. It's like, well, how many times did you ask your clients to send you referrals, right? Did you sell them the policy and save them a bunch of money and this, and this? And then you just say, okay, bye, have a great day, right? Like, hey, are there 5 other people that you think could benefit from my services? I think the same thing. Hey, Tammy, because we were able to help you save so much money on your, your commercial auto insurance, we're actually even able to slap some benefits on there because we know that's not something that, is provided through whatever you're, if you're whoever you're leasing on with or whatever. But hey, real quick, could you shoot us just a quick little 30 second to a minute testimonial about how we were able to save you money and then be able to target that to other truckers? Because and I love that you said that too. Me running an ad, with somebody who wasn't in the trucking space, right? And then like running it to a bunch of truckers be like, yo, these people ain't they ain't a trucker, right? And so I'm actually, man, I'm gonna have to hit somebody up for that, because that's really good. It's go one step further than the referral. Ask for the testimonial too, right? That review. It's really good.
And just to kind of stick on that, because I don't want to leave anyone hanging. I'm on my Facebook right now, and I think I've almost got to it. I'm gonna share. Can I share my screen on here?
Yeah, you can.
I'm going to share my screen in just 1 second. I'm almost there. These are on my Facebook. If you go way, way down, I've ran these as ads on my Facebook. And I think I actually developed a little bit of a following when I did this, where people were like looking forward to my life insurance videos. Let me show this one. This is a great one. So this was one that was hilarious. Share.
You see the, yep, there you go.
This is an actual Facebook ad that you were running. You're going to show?
This was a video I posted on my timeline.
Okay.
It's making me do something just to share my screen. Do that. So I think we're good now. Let me see. Can you guys see my screen by any chance?
I don't yet.
Not
it should
yet.
pop up where I can actually, if you hit that share, oh, there it is. I got it.
Can you guys see my screen?
There you go.
Now we can.
So these are this is a Spanish one that I ran. I'll just share this one just real quick.
Hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo vas? Me llamo James, soy de seguro de gente, de seguro de vida. Estoy aquí con mi amiga Nilda, Emilia, clients, Latino, Puerto Rico.
Buenos días, estamos aquí con el agente James de Seguro de Vida. Nos ha ayudado bastante, ¿verdad? Con los seguros para mi mamá.
So that's Spanish. I'm just kind of flexing my Spanish back in the day, which my Spanish is not that great. Here's an ad that I ran. This one was the ad I ran.
Hey, good afternoon. I'm here with one of my clients, Timothy, and was able to help him get coverage. And I'm going to let Timothy talk a little bit about his story.
Hi, good morning. My name is Tim Smith. I'm 60 years old, and I was looking for some life insurance, and came across James in his company. We had a phone conversation. We set up a meeting. James came out. I should step back. Previously, I tried to get some coverage, and I was declined for a medical or physical reason. And
so right there, that's sold. People have been declined for insurance. So I have a ton of these videos that I used to post all the time. And I'll be honest with you.
I was concerned about I wouldn't be able to get any.
I'll be honest with you. I still don't see anyone doing that. The only one I think I see close to come doing it is I think his name is Jiganesh Patel, and he's like going beyond what's like you should do. Don't do what he does completely, because that can get you some hot water. But in some areas, it's kind of funny, kind of comical. But anyways, back to like what you should do is just get a video testimonial, but like don't invade personal space, kind of thing. So I don't see anyone doing it where they're going in someone's home, they're getting a video of a client. The client's comfortable with giving a video. I mean, you saw little Spanish old lady with her mother giving me a testimonial in Spanish. You saw Tim Smith, the guy that I talked about. That sale is what led into the presentation. And unfortunately, last minute, Tim couldn't make the presentation, and it kind of just left me hanging. And that's why I said, like, things won't always go as planned.
Right.
Yeah. So I would get video testimonials like what you said, but I would get them like that and just let your clients tell your story. You know, I'm not going to sit here and show every testimonial because we don't have time for that, of course. But I had one guy, I said, hey, man, why don't you tell your story about like how I helped you get insurance? He started talking about the war. I'm sitting there and I'm like, he's talking about the war. I'm like, at first I was like, what? He's like, I was on the ironclad back in the 80s and this and that naval ship, Korea based. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, holy shit, what does this have to do with insurance?
Life insurance.
Right.
I'm like, God dang, if this is not something that people are probably going to relate to that watch it, that are probably his age maybe. And I was like, screw it. I started going into the selfie stick with my GoPro. We went from cell phone video that was kind of like grainy to like GoPro in people's houses to like Facebook Lives. Like what I'm getting at now, that's not a paid traffic form, but what I'm getting at is every other insurance agent, they're looking at lead gen, new leads. Who's got the best new leads? If you've been in business for more than a year, you've probably got a couple clients and been reliant. Go back to those people that you forgot about that you were so happy about selling. Go back to them and get videos. Start collecting those videos. Start posting those. I know for a fact I got deals on my Facebook from client testimonials. I mean, like I said, I don't have time to show you all the videos. One of my clients, he bought life insurance, and it was a mortgage protection. He was only a client for 1 year. And he gave me a testimonial from Chile, in the mountains of Chile, from like a snowboarding trip. And I was like, this is freaking awesome. And guess what? He wanted to give me the video because he kept seeing how many videos I was posting. He was like, yo, I got a testimonial for you, man. Can I send it over? Now people want to see testimonials. They're Facebook friends of mine. You know, now I'm not saying don't be Facebook friends with all your audience, but guess what? When you're posting these videos, you're standing out as a life insurance agent. You're developing your social media channel. Now, I know Joe had tagged me, and this is what led into this kind of interview. I think it was last week, where it was like organic content. I'm getting back to doing it. When you build it, the good news is when you build it, if you stop, you'll feel the effects of it, which is what happened to me. But when you continue again, you don't have to spend as much time. And that was the big thing. My team was like, hey, we don't see you as active posting stuff on social media. I posted a meme about follow-up with leads, got a bunch of engagement, posted a video, got messages from people like that. That's because I built this up. So if you're a new agent, do anything other than just posting, I'm a life insurance agent. Like so many agents, they just want to scream, I'm a life insurance agent. Like I should make a meme out of that, where it's like someone like can't wait to just burst. They're like they're gonna explode if they don't say something. It's like, I sell life insurance. It's like dude, no one cares. No one cares if you sell life insurance. People care about what life insurance does. And so what does that mean? Well, stories sell. I'm sure we've all heard that saying, stories sell. And so it's like, I got all these people. I didn't show this one. Like there's so many testimonials that I was looking at that I was like, let me find two that kind of will be just kind of neutral and one Spanish one. It was like, I had ladies that were like, you know, serious medical stuff. I'm able to get them coverage. You know, Gerber Life Insurance will insure anyone. Now it's as earned. I'm sure you guys, Tony probably knows that. No advances on that. But it was like people that had major health stuff, I'm able to get them coverage. And they were giving me testimonials of like, I don't trust most people, but my dog liked James. And I'm just like, holy shit. I'm like, what are they saying? I'm like,
right.
But damn, man, if some people probably don't relate to that. So what I'm saying is, if you're an insurance agent, this is my homework assignment. If you're watching this right now, for anyone, whether, I mean, I don't know, I can't speak on Tony or Joe, but anyone that's watching this right now, I want to talk to their audience directly. Call one person. I'm not asking you to do a lot. Call one single person that is a client of yours that you are very confident likes you enough that you can go over to their house and get a testimonial. You're gonna, you might even treat them to lunch. I've done it where I've brought lunch over, and you set up a time and a date, you know, to where they're comfortable. Maybe it's a public place, you know, if they're comfortable in their house, great. I've signed up some big clients that I've went to their houses and they have lots of money and they've been great. I've signed up low income neighborhoods, And so, but anyways, go to one person. If it's in public, great. If they in their house, even better, and show up. But don't make it about a testimonial. So when you call them and say, hey, I want to, visit you, see you, check over everything, see you, and then when you get there, so you make it not about the testimonial.
Yep.
But when you get there, you are going to kind of put these people on the spot, because some people are like, oh, I'm not ready for the camera. It's like, dude, like, this isn't going to freaking Hollywood. Chill out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so, and then just say, hey, I'll use Tony, for example. Hey, Tony, a lot of my business is done through referral. I've really appreciated working with you. It would mean a lot to me if we could just do a quick testimonial, pull out your thing and just say, do you mind if I just do a little bit about your experience? Now, maybe you do want to tell them in advance. Maybe you don't. I never did it in advance. That's a personal preference, I guess. And but if they're in a good mood, 99% of the time they're going to be like, sure, no problem.
Especially, and if you just brought them free lunch, who's going to complain about it? Who's going to be pissed off?
Yeah.
Oh man, I said no mayo. Like,
yeah,
no testimonial for you.
And just say, hey, on the video you can say, hey, what's going on? This is James Baskin. I'm here with Tony Merwin. Tony is a client of mine, and I was able to help him get life insurance, and I wanted to let him tell his story. That's one method. If you want to keep it with a structure, you can say, who are you? The next question is, what has the service meant to you? So what has the life insurance meant to you? And I have a whole Evernote. I can send this to your audience. I'll post this afterwards. Awesome. Then the next question is going to be like, I think it's like, what would you say to someone that's interested in buying? What was your experience like, so to speak? And then what would you say to someone that's on the fence about purchasing? And it can be about a 2 to 3 minute video, and just let them talk. Now, right. once you get that content, because if you're an insurance agent, that chances are you have a client, right? You're not sitting around spending money on leads and you have no business. Like, you have clients. This is the problem, man. Insurance agents, they look for in both life and PNC. Like my buddy Nato, who I'm sure runs Fully Covered. Nato knew me when I was still selling insurance, and we've been cool for a hot minute. And it's like PNC agents are always and life agents are always looking for the next best lead thing. Oh, well, this isn't working anymore. Let me find another course that has a new angle. Oh, it's TikTok. I know it's TikTok. I got to learn TikTok now. It's like, dude, you have a line of clients that book a business, especially PNC, because you guys book of businesses are a lot bigger than life.
It's like, and you have to have us. And I hope you guys hear that. Like, I know we've been talking a little bit about life insurance today, but everything he just said for that testimonial applies across the entire industry. I don't care the vertical that you're selling. Shoot, even if you're doing what James is doing in our industry, right? Like him going and getting testimonials from his clients that are using his services, it's a snowball effect, right? Once one domino goes, man. But I wanted to touch on this real quick too, James, because you said it. And I preach on this with all my organic stuff, because I'm all organic. I don't spend a dime other than time, right? But when you slow down, so do the referrals, so do the leads, right? And I wanted to really highlight that, because I've been doing what I'm doing for years, and people always say, like, dude, how do you spend that much time on Facebook and doing that? I'm like, because it makes me money, and if I slow down, so does my freaking bank account, right? Yeah. And I think that's very important, is that consistency piece really, really matters for sure.
Yep. And I'll say this real quick. There's definitely some levels to this shit. So if you're an agent and you're looking at someone else that's like Joe or Tony, and maybe your business is not as big as theirs, the best thing you can do is own where you're at. I think there's a lot of agents that pretend that they're bigger than where they're at. They're out of alignment and out of an integrity with yourself. And the truth of the matter is the universe is going to right size you. And so why I say that is because it's going to lead up to what I say where I'm at now. I was in people's houses getting testimonials. My sole, reason I'm going to go to Tampa is to get a testimonial from this big business we're working with. They have a whole office floor in a big building dedicated to them. I'm going to bring a photographer. I thought about paying for headshots, and the guy was like, it's going to be $150 a pop. And then I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do that for this large of a company. And I was like, hey, how much for a party? And he's like, $500 for an office shoot party. And I was like, done. And so I'm going to do a photo shoot. I'm going to bring a photographer. I'm going to bring a catered lunch to them. And that's going to be a testimonial for me today. That's the testimonial that I'm going to shoot for. Now, the hurricane might screw it all up, but that's the kind of testimonial I'm going to shoot for today. What life looks like now. But when I was an insurance agent, this is what I had to do. So if you're sitting back and you're like, oh my God, I'm never going to be as big as Cody, or I'm never going to be as big as this person. You may never be as big as them, and that's okay. But own where you're at. Own where you're at. Like when I wrote over $10,000 in actual like business in a month, I was getting paid as earned, which obviously that's not a full payout of 10 grand a month as a life agent, but I was getting paid as earned, and I had to work myself out of chargeback debt. That was my story. I wasn't afraid to shy away from it. I got so far upside down as a final expense agent, and I said to myself, I'm never letting this happen again. I'm going to go as earned. I took out my life savings. I bought leads. My buddy ran the leads for me in exchange for, guess what? A testimonial. And I was his biggest advocate for testimonials. And he would always refer to me, and people would buy from him based on my success and case study. And I owned where I was at. I'll never forget also when the first time I made 10 grand in a month, which was like the biggest milestone for me. I was like, if I could make 100 grand in a year, I'll be like successful for life. Like it doesn't take much to make me happy. And now there's, the threshold extends as you make more money. I'm sure you guys know that. But when I made 10 grand in a month, I went and I had a cigar. I'm a big cigar smoker. And I just remember sitting back, and it was a short month. I forget which month of the year was short, like February. One of those months is really short month, like a 28-day month. And I got testimonials from all these people. I replaced this guy's grandchildren policies for life insurance. I forget who it was with. Was it like Americo or American Eagle? I forget. I wrote all these like grandchildren policies I wrote for this guy, and that put me at 10,000 for the month. And I worked my ass off. And I remember sharing that, and people just being like, "Holy shit! How did you do 10 grand in a month?" Because I owned where I was at. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
People felt that integrity. So if you're an insurance agent, just know not everything you see on social media is real. There's a lot of people out there that put out a lot of stuff to recruit people, especially in your guys' industry. They'll put up all kinds of crazy numbers and all kinds of, and there's the events that do that. And I'm not here to call out anyone. I'm going to choose the high road on this part, but it doesn't matter if you know someone's full of shit, is what I've learned. What matters is what you're doing. That's what matters. What are you doing? Like, who cares if someone's fooling the whole entire world? Because if you jump in that and spend energy, now you've taken energy away from what are you doing? And I let that get to me. I've let that get to me at times. And so I'll say, if you're an insurance agent or any person, myself included, own where you're at. Like where I'm at right now, full transparency. Like, we're at that like 10 to 20K a month that we consistently do. And I'm like, how do I get to 50K? What do I have to do to get to $50,000 a month? Like, what is it that I'm not doing? And this is the stuff that stresses me out now. Like, it's like, why? How do I get to 50K a month? Like, what am I not doing to get to 50K? And so that's kind of like me owning where I'm at. And the universe recognizes that, because my heart recognizes it. I'm telling other people it. I'm open to it. I'm putting myself out there, and I'm also not lying. If I was like, yeah, dude, just did 100K last month. Well, meanwhile, like my creditors are like blowing up my phone, and it's like, dude, like you're not going to be successful like that. So
absolutely. Comparison kills. Comparison kills, man. You hit it. You said it very well. So this has been a great episode, man. We're a little over time, so I want to be respectful not only of your time, James, but our viewers. I know they got busy stuff. They got to get out there and get to prospecting, get to writing business, doing their thing.
Thank you.
But man, thank you so much for coming out. This has been very enlightening. A little bit of stream of consciousness moments there. But you've said some great stuff, and I really appreciate you taking time. What I would like you to do, if you don't mind, let our audience know, how do they get in touch with you? Like if we got some people out there that are maybe looking for some help in the VA world, whether it's bilingual or Filipino, whatever it might be, like how do they get in touch with you and kind of go from there?
Yep. So I saw a couple people have already added me on Facebook. I saw some people already messaged me. So I'm going to get back to y'all in a little bit. Facebook is going to be the best method. or my website, outsourcekings.com. But generally speaking, Facebook's going to be the best message. Add me on Facebook, mention this StreamYard or podcast or any kind of way. But yeah, Facebook's going to be the best method. James King Baskin on Facebook.
Awesome,
Makes
man.
sense. I love
Dude,
it.
thank you again. Thank you so much,
Joe.
bro. It's so good. I mean, I'm like, man, we're going to have to do a whole nother episode on coaching and mentorship and everything. So
Absolutely.
we'll definitely circle back around to that. And, but again, thank you, man. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Hope
guys.
everything
It's
works
been
out
great.
for you for Florida, man. Certainly be safe. Look after yourself first. So hopefully you'll
For
be able,
sure.
it looks like it may dodge south of Tampa, so you might be able to get out there. But nonetheless, thank you again. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will see y'all next week. We're here every Wednesday, 9 a.m. Central, live from Austin, Texas.
It's Wednesday, y'all. The week ain't over. It's the peak of the week. Go get it. Let's make some sales. Let's keep winning. And we'll see y'all for Friday Fuel on Friday at 9 a.m. All right.
Yes, sir.
Love you guys. Later.